they're voting for a new pope right as we speak. All the cardinals are sequestered in the Sistine Chapel. They cannot leave. And when they have a vote and no pope is elected, they blow black smoke out of the chimney. And then when they elect a pope, white smoke comes out. So the next vote is at 4 o'clock this afternoon. So who knows? We may have a new pope by the end of the day, a new leader of the 1.4 billion Roman Catholics in the world. Good morning, everybody. This is the Tominator, Tom Chiricello. Welcome to another edition of the TomCast. My man Big Joe is with us. Hey, Joe.
Hello, Tom.
Special
Glad
morning.
to be here.
Good to have you. Chris Lake is running a little late. Molly is working today, so she won't be here. We have a special morning episode. My shout out today is for Roxanne water. This is like, you buy it like Walgreens or whatever.
I've had it once or twice.
It's purified water.
Hey, it's water. And if it's cold, it's fine.
I wonder if there are any laws
I think I like Aquafina.
If they say purified water, what does that mean? Like, is there anything they have to do to it? Like, what's to keep us from just like putting water from our
bottle, out of the faucet and bottle it. It's purified.
It's purified, or it's spring water, right? I guess every water comes from a spring eventually, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, it's all right.
I wouldn't know the difference. Crime, I couldn't tell Coors Light.
I can't believe that. We couldn't identify.
So I definitely can't tell the water.
So, the Kentucky Derby we talked about last week was Saturday. Joey did pick the winner.
I did all right. I did a little better than I thought I did.
I said Sovereignty. I think the horse was 9-1.
Yeah. I ended up getting $583. I thought so. I got $240 for each of the $1 box things, and then I got $120 for the exacta thing. So I got $583. It cost $300. So
it rained in Louisville, Kentucky, so that kind of took, which was good.
I don't know
for
how
horse.
Everybody had Baez or whatever his name was.
So another Kentucky Derby. Now, there's controversy. Like, for those who don't follow horse racing, they have what they call the Triple Crown of horse racing. It's 3 races. A horse has to win all 3 to win the Triple Crown. The Kentucky Derby is the first one. The second one is in Baltimore. It's called the Preakness Stakes, a track called Pimlico Racecourse. And the third one is the Belmont Stakes in New York, which is normally held at Belmont Park, which is being rebuilt. So they're going to have it this year in Saratoga Racetrack. Oh, our man Chris is here. All right.
We're just getting it. We're doing a horse race.
We're talking about the Kentucky Derby.
Okay. Hello.
So I'm talking about the Triple Crown. So the horse that won the Kentucky Derby, Sovereignty, his owners are not going to the Preakness Stakes that is in 2 weeks. They have the Kentucky Derby is always on the first Saturday in May. The Preakness Stakes in Baltimore is 2 weeks later, and the Belmont New York is 3 weeks after that. So it's a 6-week
evolution
sequence.
for the whole.
And people are saying, that's taking some of the luster out of the sport. That for the good of the sport, the owners should go to Baltimore and try to win the second leg of the Triple Crown. But they were saying, it's a lot. It is very taxing. These are young horses. They're only 3 years old. Horses start racing when they're 2, but they're still growing. And it takes a lot out of them to run these races. And they're running crowds of 100,000 plus people. That's scary.
Why don't they want to run? Why doesn't the guy that just won the Kentucky Derby, which is who did win the Kentucky Derby? Sovereignty, yeah. Why isn't he going to run in a Preakness?
They're saying that it's going to take too much out of the horse. Like, they want to rest them.
Yeah.
Do you think this will make them change the structure of the timing between it?
A lot of people, I think it was one very prominent horse owner, his name is Mike Rapoli, he's owned many great horses. I believe he said that they should change the sequence, like make more time in between. Because they have the whole summer to run these races. Like if they made it 3 weeks or even a month to the Preakness and then another month. So if the Kentucky Derby is the first Saturday in May, so run the Preakness in June and the Belmont in July. I mean, it
yeah,
still
with the-
wouldn't really affect that much.
Yeah.
But that is a good idea. Because people like to see horses go for only. It used to be for years, like no horse won the Triple Crown. A horse named Affirmed won in 1978. It was a Florida-bred horse. Actually, he was born in Ocala, not that far from where we're coming from today. But Affirmed won in 1978, and then no horse did it for like 30 years. So, you know, it's kind of a big deal in horse racing when a horse goes for the Triple Crown. But unfortunately, Sovereignty, the owner of Sovereignty is Arab Sheikh. I guess they pronounce it Sheikh or Sheikh. You know, like these rulers of some of these Arabian countries.
Yeah.
Very, very wealthy guy, you know, billions and billions of dollars. And he made that decision not to go to the Preakness Stakes. So no Triple Crown winner this year. All right, moving on. They're voting for a new pope, right, as we speak. All the cardinals are sequestered in the Sistine Chapel. They cannot leave. And when they have a vote and no pope is elected, they blow black smoke out of the chimney. And then when they elect a pope, white smoke comes out. So the next vote is at 4 o'clock this afternoon. So who knows? We may have a new pope by the end of the day, a new leader of the 1.4 billion Roman Catholics in the world. I know you guys are. There is betting on the Pope, by the way. You can bet on that. I looked it up.
Yeah, there's some app now. I forget what it's called, but you can bet on literally everything. You can bet on the weather.
Oh, God. Over under 82 degrees.
I wonder, when I lived 2 years, just about 2 years, I lived in Las Vegas, and I'm like, it never rains in Las Vegas. Like, if it rains like once a year, that's like,
Yeah.
I'm thinking, if you could bet the weather out there, that would be like, I don't care what the odds are. If you bet that it rains, you probably get like 200 to 1 odds. That's pretty bad. I've been on some wacky stuff in my life betting the weather. The weatherman can't even get it right.
No. It'd be a good bet, though. It'd be right up there with all the other betting on the weather.
Probably a year ago or close to maybe 9 months ago, we had a gambling episode. I had a gambling expert on. And, you know, like he was talking about the proliferation of gambling and how people are, you know, losing all their money and losing their jobs and losing their houses and stuff. And people don't, it kind of goes, the average person doesn't really see it. So, but we can talk about that. Maybe we'll have a follow-up gambling episode. This past Monday night, they had in New York what's called the Met Gala.
Yes.
You guys probably. The only reason me personally, well, it's for charity. This is like the Metropolitan Museum is a big museum where they have this Met Gala, and it's all rich and famous people like celebrities, billionaires, and all things like that show up. Do you know what it costs? You can buy a table for 10 at this gala. Guess how much it is?
I know it's like $85,000 per person.
75 per
75
person.
per person.
So you get a ticket for one,
75
$75,000 to go
Yep.
to it. A table for 10 is $350. But they raised $31 million for charity. But the reason I like it is these girls, the dresses that they wear. Yeah. You know, it's
all like custom made.
Yeah. This year was more. A lot of the dresses were not as revealing. Like usually, it's really they show a lot. But a whole bunch of actresses and, you know, models were all there, and singers, and, you know.
$75,000.
I guess some people that's like nothing, you know, just to write that check for $75,000. So the Met Gala was Monday night. No Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce didn't show up. They said they had scheduling conflict. Not a whole lot to say about it. Halle Berry looked really good. And she's not, you know, Halle Berry is not that young.
I heard that a lot of like the actual A-list celebrities didn't go this year because everyone's getting mad that they're letting all the social media influencers come.
Yeah.
And like they don't like that. They're just filming TikToks in the Met Gala.
They think they're fake celebrities.
Megan Thee Stallion got banned from it.
Really?
The rapper, yeah, because she got super drunk and posted a bunch of videos at it.
She's banned from the Met Gala.
Yep.
thought about getting a Tominator, a law table for $350,000. I thought about that for like 3 seconds.
75 grand.
Sorry, gang, we're not going. Then we have to get the girls have to get dresses. It costs like $1 million.
You know, I bet some of these celebrities get paid more than the 75 grand from
No,
some of
they
these
get it for
designers,
free.
or the designers just pay for their
They don't
their
have to pay.
ticket so that they.
Yeah. I don't think the celebrities pay.
No, they do. They do have to pay.
Really?
Yep.
I thought the designers were paying for it.
Well, the designers probably do, but like someone has to pay for the ticket.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
of
the
course.
designers give it to them, and they give it to the other. It's a double pass.
So that's another Met Gala in the books. To each his own. P. Diddy's trial is going on. Sean Combs. No, I liked it when he was Puff Daddy. I like that. I thought that was cooler. I wouldn't have changed my name to P. Diddy. I would have kept Puff Daddy. But that's whatever he wants. So they're in what they call jury selection, and he's charged with 3 felonies: RICO, which stands for Racketeer Influence Corrupt Organizations. It was a law passed by signed into law by Richard Nixon in 1970, basically to go after organized crime. RICO. Sex trafficking he's charged with, and transportation for prostitution he's charged with. So they have these jury when you're on a jury that you have to answer a questionnaire, and like there's a lot of celebrity names on the questionnaire. Like I guess a lot of celebrities may be brought as witnesses in this case, like have some knowledge of his activities. Like I mean, one name I recall, I don't have them all, was Michael Myers. You know, he was on Saturday Night Live and did the Austin Powers movie, and what was the movies he did? They did 2. Wayne's World, yeah. Wayne's World 2. So like I wouldn't have thought him and P. Diddy would hang, but I guess Michael B. Jordan, the actor.
Yeah.
Well, how's that jury selection work? Is that something where the people aren't supposed to know that much about? But I feel like everyone already knows.
It doesn't automatically exclude you, but they will ask, like, they'll ask the jury, like, do you know anyone in this room? Like, if they know me, that doesn't automatically, like, say I'm doing a trial, and there's a juror that knows me, you know, from around town or something. Then the judge will ask, you know, how do you know Tom? And that could be a reason to kick them off the jury. Or if it was just minimal contact, like if it's my mailman, they probably wouldn't kick him off.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I've seen the guy picking up his mail, or whatever. But if it's like, you know, an ex-girlfriend, they probably wouldn't allow her on the jury. But so they ask everybody, do you know the judge? Do you know anyone involved, lawyers on either side? And the judge decides whether. Now, each side gets what they call challenges, and there's 2 types of challenges. Challenges for cause, where, let me think of an example. Like, let's just say a police officer was on trial for murder, and one of the jurors says, "I hate cops," you know, I think cops are all bad. That I'm sure the lawyer for the police officer would get that person dismissed for cause. Look, he can't even be fair. He hates cops. You know, cops on trial here. But then they also have what they call peremptory challenges, which you can just knock a juror off for any reason. You're only limited on how many of those you can use.
Okay.
But you can't. There have been cases before the U.S. Supreme Court. One case is like famous case is a Batson case. Like you can't exclude a juror for race, because in some cases, what the lawyers would try to do, like, you know, depending on what side you're on, like if you're a black person on trial, you want a black jury, or if you're a white person, you might want a white jury. So you can't base your decision on race, even if it's a what they call a peremptory challenge, which you can use for any reason but not race. So it's going to be like a 2-month trial. Like what I wonder, like, is imagine if you had to like set aside 2 months of your life. Like how many employers would even let you keep your job?
Aren't you like kind of locked in a like a
what they call
hotel.
sequestered. Yeah. Not every jury is sequestered. Like if you're on a jury, the judge will order you not to talk about it when you go home that night, have dinner with your family or whatever. But in some cases, like I would imagine this one, the jury's going to be, as you said, called what they call sequestered. Like they'll stay at a hotel. They're not allowed to, even phone calls to their family might have to be monitored. Sometimes they're not allowed to watch TV or read the newspaper.
I think they said they were going to go through like 106 potential jurors.
It's amazing. Like even
and how many will they have total? How many?
12.
12. Okay.
Even like in my cases, when I've never had 106, but there's probably about. So my cases have been 6 jurors, most of what I do, and we've had like maybe like 40 people, and you knock them out. And we get the questionnaires answer like they give it to me ahead of time, so like. I'll look for people that I think might be good for my side. Like you know what they do for a living. Like if and it's kind of a whole bunch of strategy in selecting a jury. There are what they call, and P. Diddy has a couple of them, I think. On his case, what they call jury consultants are experts that'll sit there and they read the questionnaire, they look at the people, and they'll advise the attorney, hey, you need to get rid of juror number 7. And I had a case I was involved in, me personally, a lawsuit. I wasn't the attorney. I was involved in the lawsuit. And it was me and there were co-defendants. And me and one of the other co-defendants hired a jury consultant. And I didn't want to pay for it because it was expensive. And the co-defendant said, hey, man, we need to do this. The lawyers convinced me to do it. And I don't know if it was worth the money. We won the case. But I'll tell you, this woman was amazing. Like we would meet with her on the breaks, and she'd be like, jurors number 1, 5, and 6, want to date Tom. Juror 7 wants her granddaughter to date. It was an old lady wants her granddaughter to date Tom. Or juror number 9 thinks that the other lawyer is a jerk. It was amazing what she just rattled off. Whether it was BS or not, I don't know. But I was like, well, you can figure out which one want to date me. I want to hire you. Are you available? Come to Hooters. Who do we want to give a shout out to? You know who looked really good in the Met Gala? Do you guys know who? I'm sure Chris knows. You know who Sydney Sweeney is?
Yeah.
And some people, she's a young actress. Been in some movies. Some people online put her down like it was being ugly. Have you ever seen any of the social media posts? I'm thinking, what drug are these people on? This girl's like hot. She's been in some pretty funny movies, but Sydney Sweeney had a really nice outfit on it. I want to invite Sydney Sweeney to come on the podcast. We'll give her the whole package of hotel, airfare, Hooters every day. We'll even take her out to dinner. Give that shout out to Sydney Sweeney. And we think you're hot, Sydney. I don't know who those crazies online that think that you're. I don't know what drug they're on. So, but P. Diddy's got his jury consultants like analyzing this, and I don't know what their strategy, if they're going to try to get a minority jury on there, or I don't know, like with charges like this, like. What's your best juror if you're on trial for sex trafficking and transportation or prostitution? Like, do you want young jurors? I would think that older jurors wouldn't be in your best interest. I would think you want male jurors. I don't know.
Probably, yeah.
I guess I want young male jurors, but we'll see what happens with that. A 2-month trial. So I was saying, like. I don't know how these people, did they just take 2 months off from work, or do they let them work at night? Maybe work from the hotel.
Yeah, maybe just virtual.
Yeah. I don't think they have, legally, I don't think your job is guaranteed. Like, I think they can let you go, I believe so. I'm not positive. But. All right, moving on. NBA and NHL playoffs are going on. some pretty exciting. Have you guys been watching any of the NBA playoff games?
Last night, the Knicks, that was insane.
I watched it, unfortunately.
Last night was the New York Knicks are playing the Boston Celtics.
There were mirror images of each game.
We're
up by 20, and we took a dump.
The Celtics were up by 20, like almost at the end of the third quarter. It was late in the third quarter, and they lost.
Yeah.
The Celtics are the defending NBA champs. The Knicks are a good team. Most experts, I would have thought there's no way the Celtics are going to lose to the Knicks. They lost 2 in a row in Boston. Now they go to New York for the next 2 games. So, I mean, the Knicks potentially could, end the series. Sweep them if they can win 2 in New York.
Yeah. And Cleveland and the
Indiana
same
Pacers.
things happen with Cleveland and Indy.
Yeah, Cleveland, who was number 1 seed in the East, lost 2 games at home to Indiana Pacers. So, one game was a blowout last night. Did you see Denver stole the first game in Oklahoma City?
Yeah, I didn't
see it. And Oklahoma City came out for blood last night. I think they won by like 40-something, 45.
Yeah, 40, yeah.
They got a good team, man. Oklahoma City.
I think they'll win the whole thing.
They look pretty tough. Now, Golden State I like as a dark horse team. They got Jimmy Butler, but Steph Curry's hurt. They said he's got a hamstring, and hamstrings are tough. Like he's not
playing tonight.
He's not playing tonight for sure. They said, well, Golden State won game 1.
Yeah.
They won game 1, I think, on the road, right?
Yeah.
So
that's why there was 6 road wins up until Thunder blew out Denver.
They say he's definitely out for games 2 and 3. I think there's 3 days off between games 5 and 6. So they said he'll definitely be able to play in game 6 and should be able to play in game 5. So I think if you're Golden State, you just want to stay even.
Yeah.
If they could be 2-2 at the end of 4 and then get Curry back.
Yeah.
But, without him, that's going to be tough. NHL playoffs. These games are close. Like Winnipeg went to Game 7. A lot of people think Winnipeg's going to win it all out west, and they won in Game 7 in double overtime, and they moved on to the next round. Florida and Toronto was last night. I like Florida Panthers in the East. They beat our Tampa Bay Lightning. Florida played Toronto last night, and they lost by 1 goal.
So Toronto's up 2-0?
I don't know if they're up. I think are they up 1-0 or 2-0?
Well, who won last night?
I think Toronto won last night.
Toronto won the first one. I'm positive they won the first one. So I think they're down 2-0. I think.
But it looks wide open in the NHL. Like you can make a case probably for probably 8 teams could you could make an argument could win the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
But the NBA, I think the NBA, it looks like Joe said. I mean, Oklahoma City looks tough.
Yeah. It looks like they're. That's why I let the Celtics lose and let them bow out now. Let them lose to the Knicks. The farther they go, the more upset I get. And they're going to wind up losing for sure.
They'll really show the Celtics are going to show their mettle in the next game. Part of me thinks the Celtics just come out and destroy them.
Yeah, that's what I think too. I think they'll just come out and blow them out.
I think the Knicks will be up. I think it'll be they'll be up 3-1 going into 3-2. I think game 6 is going to be the telltale.
You know how the Knicks are coming back in these games? 3-pointers, like they're bombing 3-pointers.
Jason Tatum is taking a. God, he's got to stop hogging a ball. You hear that, Jason?
Shout out to Jason Tatum. Joe said you got to stop hogging the ball.
You're a ball hog.
But you're still welcome to come on the podcast. Free Hooters.
You're fired.
All right, so we'll see what happens. I said before, as much as I really enjoyed the playoffs in both NBA and NHL, they're too long. There's too many rounds. I think you have to win 4 series in each sport to win the championship. But they got to make money. They got to pay these guys. One interesting, it's a guy, I'm familiar with this person for many years, being somebody who I've always been interested in I always read the financial publications, Wall Street Journal and Forbes from a young kid, business magazines and stuff. I majored in, that was my undergraduate major in college. But a media legend is a man by the name of Barry Diller. He's 83 years old. He's worth, I think $4 or $5 billion, multi-billionaire. He's been around for over 50 years. And, he's been in charge of movie studios, TV networks, a whole lot of different stuff. So he's been married to Diane von Furstenberg since 2001. She's a fashion designer who isn't well known today as much, but in the 70s she was really big. Diane von Furstenberg, clothes, fragrances, stuff like that. So they've been married for 24 years. A little bit surprising. He came out as gay this week. The guy's 83, and why now? And I guess maybe he just got. I'm sure that there were people close to him that were aware that he was gay, but I don't know why what led to this being disclosed now. I don't think it's a case of where he was outed. He just chose to disclose that on his own at this stage, and but he's been in the public eye for 50 years, and now you just, I guess it's got to be difficult. I can't comment on it, but it has to be difficult to have to just keep that hidden for 50 years, or more than 50 for his whole life.
I mean, maybe someone was going to try to blackmail him, and he was just like, I'm just going to do it myself.
I mean, he's 83 years old, so what is he really worried about at this point? I just thought that was interesting, but he's a legend, like I said, a media legend, whether it be film, television. I think he was even chairman of QVC for a while, online, one of the online shopping channels. So very successful guy. And he's even talking about how, when he was younger and had to try to keep it on the down low. So congratulations. Shout out to Barry Diller. Yeah. Maybe he can come on the podcast and give us some pointers about how to build our brand. Maybe Barry can use his connections to get us our big media deal. We're willing to take, I think, a $50 million 3-year deal, and we'll whack that up between you guys and Molly.
Yeah.
So shout out to Barry Diller. So I think that's all we got for today. A little bit of abbreviated session. You guys have anything you want to add?
I can't think of anything.
You want to make your official NBA championship pick, Oklahoma City?
Yeah, I'll say
Chris?
Oklahoma
I'm going to
City.
just go with the Knicks.
The Knicks? All right. Being back the magic of the 1970s. Earl Monroe,
When
Walt
that happens,
Clyford,
I'll be amazed.
Willis
At least I can
Reed.
say I got beat by the winner.
You guys have probably never heard of these guys. Willis Reed.
Oh, yeah, Willis. I've heard of him.
My official NBA pick, I'd have to say, is
Golden State.
if Steph Curry were healthy, I would give them a shot. If he's not seriously injured, because hamstring injuries are funny. I've seen guys come back after a couple days and be fine, or it could be a nagging injury. But they may have one left in them. Jimmy Butler is clutch. They acquired Jimmy Butler, so I'll make my official pick Golden State, and in NHL.
I'll say Toronto.
Joe's Toronto. You have an NHL pick?
No.
No pick. I'll say the Winnipeg Jets, even though they're barely winning. They had the best records. I'll root for the Winnipeg Jets. So those are our official picks. And our selection for, there is talk that the new Pope, it's never happened, could be an American-born Pope.
Really?
There's never been an American-born Pope. So my pick for Pope is American Pope.
American born. All right, I'll second that.
I'll go with the American Pope.
American Pope. That'd be a good name for a horse. American Pope.
That would be a good name for a horse. Or a vodka.
Yeah. I think we need to get a TomCast horse.
And next week I'll give actually we're not going to be here next week because I got to do some. I'm going to shout out to my New Jersey fans and New Jersey clients. I'm coming up there to see you next week. I'll be in New Jersey for a couple of days. But so I guess we have to make we don't even know the field for the Preakness
Gene, you better
yet.
be on your best behavior.
Our Preakness selection, we don't have. Sometimes what happens in the Preakness is horses who didn't run in the Kentucky Derby do well. Like they're just sort of like laying in wait, so to speak, rested up. Because the Kentucky Derby is a long race and there's a big crowd. It takes a lot out of a horse. So we might see like a new horse come along and win the Preakness. But I'll be back for that. I'll be watching the Preakness Stakes, and I won't be able to make my pick.
I'll be
in
going
advance.
for my own Triple Crown.
Yeah, Joe's looking for the official Joe Triple Crown.
I've never done it.
All right, and we'll see what happens with P. Diddy. They probably should have a jury selected. I don't think that should take too long, but certainly, next couple of days, they'll have their jury, and then his trial is expected, like I said, to last about 2 months. So we'll see. This is a serious charge. Like he could get life if he's found guilty of all this stuff. So we'll see what happens with that. All right, folks. We'll see you next or in 2 weeks.
All right. It's a wrap.